Broadcasting from the Business RadioX studio in Houston, Texas, it's time for Regions Business Radio Houston. Regions Business Radio Houston is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
Hello and welcome to Regions Business Radio Houston, presented by Regions Bank, member of the FDIC, and an equal housing lender. I'm your host, John Stacy, Market Executive and Head of Regions' Houston Commercial Banking Team. We're broadcasting live today. I'm so excited about this. We're live out at Constellation Field, which is the home of the Houston Astros AAA affiliate, the Space Cowboys. It's a beautiful day outside today, a little hot, but still beautiful. And then I'm just thrilled to have with us today a colleague who I've really gotten to know over the last few months as he has helped stand up a new segment within our income property finance team, which is our market real estate group. This guest flew all the way down here to be with us today, Scott Rhoad. He comes to us with over 30 years of experience, of which 15 has been with Regions Bank, which truly affords him to be a subject matter expert on today's topic. So Scott, welcome to Houston, and so glad to have you here on this podcast.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you having me today.
Scott, how is your team approaching the new market real estate initiative that the bank has recently launched?
Let me first start by kind of outlining for our listeners Regions Real Estate Banking. Regions Real Estate Banking makes up 4 business segments. First one, which we're going to talk about today, is our income property finance that I lead. We also have a real estate corporate banking group that works with the publicly traded REITs. We have a home builder finance team that works with all the home builders within the Regions footprint, and a Regions affordable housing team. That team works with all of the affordable housing providers really around the country, and it's an outstanding team. Within income property finance, we have 3 segments. We're going to talk about the market real estate segment today, but we also have a commercial real estate segment that focuses on regional and national clients, and we work with clients around the country. And then we also have an institutional fund group that will work with the equity providers around the country. So within that group, we have 3 segments. The Market Real Estate Initiative was launched in March of 2022 this year. And what we've established is a seamless partnership with our commercial and private wealth teams to serve all of our clients that have investment real estate needs. We've hired 5 RMs that currently reside in each of our 5 districts, and we have a manager that will lead that group to continue to partner with you, John, in driving the assistance of our clients from an investment real estate perspective on an ongoing basis. This dedicated team provides both an experience on a sales side, but we also have dedicated underwriters, we have dedicated risk. So our clients are getting to work not only with you and your team, but dedicated real estate professionals. And we think that's important that we can provide you those kind of services. Alongside you here in Houston for your team, we have Travis Demereau. He currently resides in Dallas, but he is a Texas native, and he has been with Regions since 2012, has his undergraduate and master's in real estate from Texas A&M.
You know, I love the coverage model. We've got local coverage here in market with our, commercial and private wealth relationship managers, and then we have the subject matter expert with Travis. And boy, I know since you flipped the switch in March and started this business, his plate has just been overflowing, inundated with opportunities. And so I think that the growth with this opportunity is just so great for the bank right now. You want to talk a little bit about just not only Houston, just across the geographies for the bank, how their response to this, new product offering from our real estate group has just been received so well by existing clients, but also prospective clients.
Yeah, certainly. And I appreciate the comments about Travis. He is an outstanding partner for both your team, but our clients have really appreciated his professionalism and understanding of real estate. And that's really what we're focused on providing around the entire Regions footprint. And as we've been out meeting with clients and looking at opportunities, we've really seen some outstanding opportunities in the market real estate space. Those clients that are focused and based in those markets, that are working on investment real estate in those markets. Some of the property types that we've really seen and we are continuing to pursue, primarily one is multifamily. As we all know, there is a housing need in the country right now. And so we continue to focus on helping our partners that are either constructing new multifamily, maybe acquiring an older multifamily project and providing some updates to that project, or those that are acquiring it and wanting to take it out to the permanent market over a period of time. So the multifamily space has been a critical part with the housing shortage and the needs within the region's footprint. The other type that we continue to pursue is our industrial. As we know, coming out of the pandemic, with a lot of the needs from an industrial in logistics, and so we've been helping a lot of individuals build and acquire industrial as well. We also look at many other property types, but those are the two that we've seen a lot of success here in just the last 90 days. The other types that we are looking at are multi-tenanted office. We are looking at retail, primarily grocery-anchored retail. We're also looking at credit tenant retail, credit tenant industrial. We are also looking at some self-storage facilities as well. So we do look at all the property types within the industry, but we do partner very well with our capital markets team as well to help provide off-balance sheet services as well from permanent market side.
When you talk about, we offer financing for multifamily, industrial, and a few other property types as well, what type of financing are you offering? Is it construction, interim, permanent, all of those pieces? How are we differentiating ourselves when we go out to the market?
That's a great question. We are actually doing all of those property types. So we are able to provide construction, interim, and permanent financing, both on balance sheet and off balance sheet. I think one of the questions that you asked is what separates Regions. I think that's a great question because one of the things that we did as Regions is continuing to expand our capabilities. In December of 2021, Regions bought Sabal Capital Partners. That was a diversified financial services firm. It was very innovative. It had many products and services that we did not offer off balance sheet. So our Sabal partners brought together what we currently had, and now we are expanding those. So Regions Capital Markets and our Sabal partners can provide HUD financing for multifamily. We can provide both small and large dollar Fannie and Freddie loans for our multifamily borrowers. Our capital markets team allows us to syndicate, so if we have a larger opportunity, we can certainly syndicate those as well. But the other two things that we've added through the Sabal acquisition is our life company correspondent relationships. Those have been valuable as well. And then the other part is our CMBS group. They have an outstanding team, very experienced, and so we're able to provide small dollar CMBS opportunities, anywhere from a $5 million up to a $50 million in the CMBS. So having both the on-balance sheet capabilities and off-balance sheet capabilities, I think also separates Regions from many of our peers.
You just talked about, dollar amounts that you like to pursue. Is there a minimum on multifamily, for example? And then also maybe speak to, are we shying away from a particular, class of multifamily? There's A, there's B, there's C. What's the ideal multifamily candidate for you? Or is there an ideal? It just depends.
We really look at all multifamily, but in the commercial space, it's typically 5 units or larger for commercial real estate. Through the Fannie and Freddie program, I believe the dollar amounts can go down to $2 million. And so we're able to really help all of our communities from smaller loans in that $2 million range all the way up to very sizable transactions that would go beyond what our market real estate would focus on. The CMBS side as well, they're down in the smaller, like I said earlier, a $5 million. So we really want to provide the services to our clients for kind of all of those property types in all of the programs that we have.
On these property types, if we have a Houston-based operator, owner, acquirer, do we follow that owner, operator, acquirer to other geographies? Are we only limiting this to the geographies that Regions Bank is in? Help me understand that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think one of the things I'd like to start off with was your comment about an owner-operator. We really like to work with the owner-operators because as we focus on our clients and providing a holistic approach to them, we really try to grow a good holistic Regions 360 relationship. We want to be able to work with you, not just to provide you the construction, but we want to help you from a deposit, treasury management perspective, private wealth perspective. We think the more you know Regions, the more that we know you, we can provide more services to you. That helps you really with your overall organization and being more competitive yourself. In regards to the question around geography, if you had a client, John, that was here in Houston, that was also focused on maybe going over to San Antonio, going over to Austin, the nice thing with Travis, he can travel with your client. And then also, as I mentioned earlier in the income property finance, we do have our commercial real estate group that goes both regionally and nationally. And so Regions has the ability from market real estate to the commercial real estate to focus on the market that you operate in. If you become a regional or national client, the nice thing with our approach is your RM, who you get to work with daily and get to know and develop a relationship with, we will travel with you. And so we are all about relationships at Regions, and that allows us to focus on you and your needs and travel with you no matter where you go.
I'm glad you mentioned Regions 360 because that is such a key part of when we look to develop a relationship with a prospect. We step back and we build out a business plan beyond just using the balance sheet. We look at ways to have a holistic relationship, and it's been a lot of fun partnering up with you and Travis and the rest of the team as we have tried to build out a nice book of business in the market real estate group. Talk to us about a couple of successes that you've had. I know Travis has had some because I get emails from him at all times of the day, in the middle of the night. He is just inundated with work, and such a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, we've had several successes since we've kicked it off. And, Travis is a good example of his dedication to his partners, both internally and commercial, but with his external clients. He's really dedicated to providing the service that the client needs. And giving you a couple of examples that he has recently won, it was in partnership with his commercial RM. His commercial RM knew a client here in Houston. He knew someone in the finance department, knew we were launching this initiative, reached out to Travis. He and Travis met the client. It's a multifamily client. They own and operate multifamily here in the Houston market. They buy older properties and then they will renovate them. So they are enhancing the living for those in our community here in Houston. And so we were able to provide a financing program that allowed them to acquire the property, renovate the property so it's improving housing here in the marketplace. They are an owner-operator, so they want to own it long-term. And so after the renovation is complete, we will be working with our capital markets partners to be able to provide them a long-term off-balance sheet loan through our capital markets program through either Freddie, Fannie, or HUD, depending upon what's most appropriate for our client. And that's one of the things that we like to bring to the table is the ability to provide a service through our capital markets, through our balance sheet, in a partnership way.
That's great. We talked a little bit earlier about the value proposition that Regions brings to the table for conversations that we're having. And, relationship banking is such the foundation of our culture here. I know that you are very sensitive to speed of service, certainty of execution, and delivering term sheets, delivering, closing documents, and execution. What are your thoughts on all of those?
Well, I think that's critical. You can get a loan from any organization, but I think it's the expertise, it's the service that you receive along with the financing that you receive. And I think the value proposition you mentioned is when we're in a community, we like to bring our commercial partners, our private wealth partners. We want to be able to work with a client and know that you have a dedicated real estate specialist that understands this industry, that has the ability to take the loan from either a construction loan, an acquisition loan, and it's dedicated real estate people through the underwriting, the approval, the closing process. Everyone that you work with is a real estate professional, but you also have partners within our private wealth and commercial locally that are all in alignment to provide the service that you need as well. And so we think from the ability to put it on our balance sheet to then also being in alignment with our capital markets partners if you want a long-term loan as well through our capital markets partners through CMBS, Life Company, Freddie, Fannie, or HUD, we have all of those capabilities.
We do. And I think building credibility with our clients, as a trusted advisor by ensuring that, we listen to their stress points and then we come back with solutions. Tell me about some solutions where you've heard stress points from a particular client or prospect. You've come back with Travis, you've huddled up with the team, and then you've gone back and provided a solution that the customer smiled on, as a matter of fact, when you brought that back.
Well, I think one, in today's environment, we have an inflationary environment. We know that we have a rising cost environment, that we had a transaction in partnering with our commercial team, a long-standing client that wanted to build a new apartment complex. As we were going through the process with the client, unfortunately, in a rising cost environment, their cost budget came back significantly higher than they anticipated. So in most situations, if you did not have a relationship, many other lenders may just want to move on from that. But because it was a long-standing relationship, we do believe in relationships. We worked with that client to find a financing solution that allowed them to continue to move forward with the new housing and the apartment project. And we're actually getting ready to close that deal in the next 30 days. And that was really one where we partnered together with our client and found a way to get it done.
Scott, as we close out here, is there anything that if we have some of our clients that listen to this podcast that you'd want them just to, some takeaways from this podcast, maybe 2 or 3 takeaways from it that you'd like for them to have?
Yes, thank you. The first one is it is about relationship. We still believe in our industry that is a relationship and that we have dedicated people that can work with you to develop that relationship and provide you the services that you need. In regards to services, I think Regions is one of the few banks in the country that can provide all of the real estate services that you would need, from construction to acquisition to term to bridge loans on our balance sheet, to everything our capital markets team can provide off balance sheet. We can provide a holistic solution and relationship with you, and we have the capacity to grow with you as well. And so we want to be there from your first transaction to your last transaction.
Perfect. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And I know you and your team are just inundated with emails, phone calls, requests to come to this town and that town. So thank you for spending a few minutes here with us today. And I want to thank our listeners to Regions Business Radio Houston, presented by Regions Bank, member of the FDIC. You can enjoy these episodes anytime by simply going to businessradiox.com and selecting the Houston studio, and then click on Regions Business Radio. Other avenues to listen to this are iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast. But please be sure to subscribe to the program so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And we've got some really great episodes coming up here over the next few months. So, friends, I'm John Stacy, and you've been listening to Regions Business Radio Houston on Business RadioX. Thank you for being a loyal listener, and have a great day.
Regions Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All Regions products and services are subject to qualification requirements, terms, conditions, fees, and credit approval. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be accounting, legal, tax, investment, or financial advice. Regions believes this information to be accurate when recorded, but it cannot ensure that it will remain up to date. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation. The information should not be construed as a recommendation of a specific course of action for any individual or business.